This is Peggy Jackson, and I am a Forever Ambassador in Roswell, Georgia. Today, I'm going to be talking with you about organizing your photos, your digital photos, on your PC using Forever's Historian software. This is the welcome screen for Forever Historian when you open it up. This is going to show you your vault. I have over 60,000 images and video clips combined in my vault. This is all of our family's digital photos going back to 2004 when we went digital, plus a few scanned items prior to that. I do have a separate vault that I have set up for my parents' photos, all the scanned photos that I've done for them. But for the most part, you want to keep all of your family photos in one place rather than separating them into different vaults. So next, we're going to go into the media library. This is where my 60,000 images and videos reside. And you can see here, they are in media date order. When I bring a photo, a digital photo, into Historian, it will automatically file it according to media date. Obviously, if you've scanned something, it's not going to have a date taken. You'll have to put that date taken in. Like this one, I've actually put in that it's 1967. This one, December 27th, 63, my parents' wedding date. So you can put in dates, and then it will file them all in date order for you. I can see my photos by media date, or I can see them, or I can show them by import date. Most of the time I'm using media date. I can also put them by month if I want to see them in a little bit smaller chunks, or I can even put them by day. I'm going to go back to years. Here's my years. So the rest of this overview here, we have over here, if I have used a rating system, if I put star ratings on various photos, I can pull up just my 5-star photos, or I can pull up just my 1-star photos. If maybe I want to delete duds and duplicates and I've put 1 stars on them, I can pull those up and get rid of them. This is my organization panel. This is where I have my categories and I have tags. This is how I can organize my photos so that I can find whatever I'm looking for whenever I want them. So it gives it a little bit more organization than just by month or by date. The other feature, this is the item properties panel. So each item in here has its properties. I'm going to find one here that actually has, that is a digital photo, not my scanned ones from early on. So this one right here, I'm going to pull that up. And so it's January 24th, 2015. I've given it a 5-star rating. I can also tell my story. This is Will's last Pinewood Derby with pack 985. And that story will now stay with the photo as part of the metadata. It's like our parents used to do when they wrote on the backs of photos. That information stayed with the photo. So this item properties tells me star rating, name, date. It tells me what categories and tags I've got it in. I've got it in the Cub Scout tag, which is under activity category. I've got a facial recognition tag on Will. So you can tell that that's Will. That one is going to show Evelyn, and it's tagged Evelyn's birthday, which is under our family events category. The other feature here is albums. Albums are a way to group photos for a project. So I may have all of these photos in 2015, but if I'm making a 2015 calendar or a 2015 family album, I'm going to want to group them into an album so that I know there's my 2015 album. This is what I'm putting in my scrapbook, or I'm printing them for my scrapbook, or I'm putting them into my digital book. That's what albums are used for. They're for grouping. I used them for project planners. That's what my albums are. So let's go back to the media library. So how do we get photos into our media library? Up here, we see our Get Media tab. So you can pull them down from Forever. You can pull them from a camera or your phone. Your phone is a camera. You can pull them from a scanner if you're scanning older photos. You can pull them from files. That's the one you're probably going to use the most. If you've got photos at other online sites, you'll want to download those into a file on your computer before you attempt to bring them into Historian. So we're going to go ahead and import media from a file. We're going to go to, when I download photos from my phone, it doesn't always like to do it directly into Historian. So I will drop them into a file called iPhone Photos. These are the photos from my iPhone from basically end of November and December. I am going to click on the first, I want all of these photos to come into Historian. So I'm going to click on this one and I'm going to go down to the bottom. I'm going to shift click on that one, or you can control click to pick out just certain ones. And I'm going to say open. By saying open, now it is loading those items into my media vault. So I am loading my end of November and all of December 2021 photos that I had pulled from my phone, and I'm loading them into my media vault. Do note here that it will detect duplicates as long as you haven't changed the metadata on those photos or changed the name, etc. It will detect duplicates. Unfortunately, if people have texted you photos, Facebook Messenger, that type of thing, it changes the metadata of those photos, so it might not recognize them as duplicates at that point. But if you're just pulling them from your phone, it should recognize them as duplicates if you've already tried to import them before. And I probably shouldn't have chose that many to import all at once because it is taking a little bit of time now. So once you have imported, once you've identified where all your photos are, you can also do a search on your computer. If you know you have photos all over your computer and you want to grab all of them, then you can do the search computer function, and it will look at every JPEG over a certain size on your computer and ask you if you want to bring it in. If you're trying to clean off your computer, that might be something you want to try. But if you've got photos in particular files and you know where they are, then use the files feature to go pull them in. Another thing to think about when you're pulling your photos in, when you're first starting in Historian and you're pulling them in, what's your workflow going to be? Are you going to just dump all of your photos, bring them in from all over the place all at once, and then start cleaning them up and sorting them? Or are you going to do it a file at a time and keep track of it? It's an overwhelming project. I know if you haven't done anything with your photos in years and you want to get them all organized, it can be very overwhelming. So think about how you want to attack it. Are you better at small bites and organizing by small bites, or do you want to bring them all in and then work with them from there? Once you have brought your photos in, you want to curate your photos. And by that, I mean, you want to go through and delete the duds, delete the duplicates. We tend to take 5 pictures of one thing to get a good shot. So, okay. So when it has brought them in, it's going to ask me, these had tags on them already from either the phone or something else. They had tags, and I am actually not going to use those tags. Actually, that one might actually work. We could do that, but I'm not going to do that one. I'm going to tell it to keep the will tag, but nothing else. All right, so I have just brought those photos in. Now I'm going to curate. That means I'm going to delete duds and duplicates. I'm going to add or edit the date if that's necessary. If they were scanned photos, I'm going to have to change the date on them. If something else has happened to the date and they're not correct, I'm going to need to change the date. I'm going to put star ratings on if I'm using star ratings. I'm going to tell my story on some of them if that's important. And I'm also going to sort by tags and categories. So let me show you how I do that. First thing I'm going to do is I'm going to double click on a photo. So as I bring my photos in, I'm going to go in and I'm going to curate right away. I have not done that for every single year that's in here. So I've got some years that I still need to go in and I need to organize and curate. So this one, if I look at the next one, I can use this little arrow here to go to the next one. And you can see it's a picture of a buck, a deer outside of our neighbor's house on Thanksgiving Day. That one, too small to see. So I'm going to delete that one. And if I just hit my delete button, yes, I want to delete it. And this is the one I want to keep. So I want to tag with, and I'll go over here to my tags. I actually have a tag for wildlife just because our family likes to take pictures of wildlife. So I like to keep that in there. So I've got fauna photos. I'm going to tag it with that. And then I'm going to tell the story. This buck was running across the street in front of us, then stopped and turned around so I could get his photo. So if it's a story that you would tell about that photo when you were showing it to someone, go ahead and write it in here because then you're not going to forget why you took that photo. So I'm going to save that one. I can get out of the single photo mode. Now this photo all the way to this photo, that's our Thanksgiving. So I'm going to click on one. I'm going to use shift click and click on the end photo. I'm going to find Thanksgiving. It's under our family, events, holidays. And I am going to drag this to Thanksgiving. I have just added that tag now to all of these photos. But there's some additional tags I want to add. You can put multiple tags on a photo without duplicating the photo. So by putting 5 tags on something, I don't have 5 copies of the photo. So here, my facial recognition is on, so it's already trying to tag these for me. I set up facial recognition for the most important people in my life. I have it for each of my kids. I have it for me and my husband. I actually have combined it for my husband's parents and for my parents. I've got Jackson and I've got Whitlow. And the facial recognition actually does a pretty darn good job of recognizing those together. So I'm going to say Jackson and Jackson. And now that will be tagged in the grandparents folder. That one should be Dan. And keep in mind, it doesn't always get it right. Let's see what it does with this one. See, it's got no faces here. It actually does recognize the dog generally, but so I'm going to take that one and I'm going to tag it with pets. Let's see, I've got pets here. So I'm going to tag that one with Ava. And that one is going to be Peggy and Dan. Early on, your facial recognition will not recognize people right away. So it's gonna ask you, is this so-and-so? And you'll do the drop down and say you either confirm it or you'll add a new one, select a different one, and it gets smarter as it goes. It gets that history and it knows who people are. I think, yep, that's Will. It knows that. And it's already got a tag for Thanksgiving. It's got a tag for Will. All right, I don't think there's anything else I need to tag there. If I was using star ratings, I would go in here and I'd give them star ratings also. Like I like that one a lot. Um, I tend to use star ratings for maybe things I want to put in the calendar for next year. Things that I definitely want to make sure that I put in a scrapbook, that I might use the star ratings for those. That one would get a 5-star also. Another thing you might want to know, I've showed you the shift click so that you can choose a selection of photos that are all in a row. But if you want to choose certain photos that aren't necessarily next to each other, like if I want to put this one, I'll do Control and select that one. And then I can put both of those photos, I can tag it with Ava. Open that up and I'll tag both of those photos with Ava. So I've showed you now Control click and Shift click to choose multiple photos to either tag or change date or whatever you need to do to them. So how do you determine what categories and tags you're going to need? It's a very personal decision. It's going to be very different for everybody. I've developed these tags and categories over a number of years, refined them over the years. There's still some things I would probably change if I, got down to it. So you can do it up front. You can map it out on a piece of paper, write down some categories, some tags, start setting them up over here before you start importing your photos and organizing, or do it on the fly. As you're going through your photos, figure out what tags and categories you might use to find those photos again. Say these are the lights at the zoo. Say, maybe I don't have a zoo category. So I'd select those, right click, tag with, and go down to attractions. And I do have a zoo category, but I don't necessarily have a holiday lights category. So maybe under attractions, I'll do create, I'll right click on attractions, create tag, and say holiday lights. And there we go. Now I have my holiday lights category or tag underneath my attractions category. Now I want to add those photos that I've selected. So I'm going to say add, and now they've all been tagged with holiday lights and they're already under Christmas. So let me think here. Oh, the one thing you do need to remember, I may have already said this before, is you do not need to have dates over here or in your tags and categories. If you'll notice under holidays, events, holidays, I don't have Christmas 2007, Christmas 2012, because I can click on Christmas. I'm going to go back here to sort my photos or see my photos by media date. And I'm going to say select all dates. And I've selected Christmas. And it's going to show me all of my Christmas photos from all the different years. So I don't need to set up a tag for Christmas 2008, Christmas 2009, because my timeline is going to do that for me. You can use these and get a lot of mileage out of this timeline. I also use it a lot in our trips, our places and our trips. We've got lots, we love to travel. So I've got all of these trips. Now Hilton Head is a place we go every single year, multiple times per year. So I want to click on that and it's going to show me all of our Hilton Head photos from throughout the years. So if I'm looking for one, I just have to go to the date and click Hilton Head. All right. So that's an overview of Historian. Check with your ambassador for a little bit more training if you want it. There's some material available on Pixels to Pages, some free Historian training that you can do. Just a quick note about backing up. Historian does have some features up here under File. Actually, sorry, it's not under File. Here under Vault, you can do an incremental backup, full backup, shadow copy. A shadow copy is what you set up at the beginning to back up changes as you make them. The key thing about a shadow copy is it has to be in a different place than your original Vault. I have my Vault right now on an external hard drive rather than on my laptop because I don't have room on my laptop. If I were to set up a shadow copy also on that external hard drive, that's a waste of space because you're putting it on the exact same device. And if that device goes bad, you lose both copies. So you're not really truly backing it up. If I had another external hard drive that I could plug in and always have both of them plugged in when I was working in Historian, then I could set up my shadow copy that when I closed Historian out, it would back up all of the changes that I had made since the last time I opened it onto the shadow copy. You can also, we encourage you to do a full backup on a regular basis. You can do that up here or go to Explorer. And if I find my Jackson Memory Vault and I plug in an additional external hard drive, I can just take that Jackson Memory Vault and copy and paste it onto another external hard drive. I'll want to do that maybe once a month, every couple of months. I do try to do it before I travel with my laptop and my external hard drive so that if something happened to those while I was traveling, I would have a safe copy at home of all my photos. Once you make that full backup, you can delete the last full backup you did, or maybe keep a couple of them, but you don't have to keep adding on to that file. Check with your ambassador, like I said, and have them help you set up some sort of a backup systems to make sure that you are backing up your files appropriately, because you can't depend on one piece of equipment to hold your files forever and not mess up. So that is all I've got for you now. If you've got some questions, I'll be taking them after this video ends.